Sebin sir ഒന്ന് അഡ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്യോ സാറിന്? സെബിൻ സർ, സെബിൻ സർ, സെബിൻ സർ, സെബിൻ സർ, സെബിൻ സർ, സർ, സെബിൻ സാർ സ്പീക്കർ അഡ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? സെബിൻ സാർ,
Yeah, Vikash may be outside Nirmala College of Pharmacy joined.
Hello, welcome sir.
Karthikeyan sir, I think speaker has joined with us.
Yes sir, yes sir, yeah.
I think we can proceed further.
Yes sir. Sir, shall we start now? No?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Yes sir, yes, thank you. Nirmala College of Pharmacy, Mathura, Kerala is organizing 4 days online in-house faculty development program on innovative idea, strategies for writing successful grant proposals and importance on IPR between 24th, 25th, 26th and 31st August 2021. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Preeja G. Pillai, Head of R&D Cell, Professor and Head Department of Pharmacology, to give welcome address of today's program. Madam, please.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Very good afternoon to one and all joined here. On this occasion, I would like to welcome you all for this online FDP series on strategies for writing successful research proposals and importance of IPR. I wholeheartedly welcome our today's guest, Dr. Vikash Methi, for joining as a resource person for today's session. I welcome you, sir. It's my immense pleasure to welcome our leader, constant supporter, our administrator, Reverend Father Jose Mathai Mailade, to this session. I welcome you further. It's my great pleasure to welcome our principal, Dr. R. Batmanabhan, to join this session. I welcome you, sir. Wholeheartedly, I welcome our faculty delegate, those who join for this session. Once again, I welcome you all. I hope today's session will be fruitful for you all. Thank you. I hand over my duty to our principal for presidential address. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, respected faculty members, we are fortunate to have such an eminent speaker and as a resource person on today with us, Dr. Bikash Modi. His bibliography, which I gone through, a wide and extensive experienced person going to deliberate talk on this topic, that is how to apply for national and international funding agencies and what are the critical evaluations measures one need to look into before applying the proposal. As we all know that any higher education institutions in India, the visibility and the quality always talks about their R&D activities. The research and development is a backbone of any institutions to show the progress and to show the visibility in everywhere. So to do that, to do a lot of research activities, obviously, there may be a lot of constraint it will come in front of us, especially the fund, right? So there are so many government and non-government agencies in India and in abroad. They are giving the grants for the research institutions as well as the academic institutions. There are a lot of thirst areas within them, and we need to align as per their expectations. And in that, the outcome will be a greater impact. So when we talk about the quality publications, especially we expect from the teachers, the publication should come through the index journal like Web of Science or Scopus. For that, a lot of data are required, a lot of research to be investigated, right? So in that regard, we need to fetch funds from various granting authorities. I hope that our Professor Bikash will highlight all this aspect in his talk. And I don't take much more time and utilize this platform very carefully and very interestingly and with enthusiasm. So this will make our progress and journey successful. We want our college to be progress in a higher state level in compared to other institutions. So with this, I again heartily welcome Dr. Bikash Modi for on this 4 days online in-house faculty development program. I also congratulate here the R&D department head, Preja Madam, who taken a keen interest on that. And my special emphasis and thanks goes to Dr. Karthikeyan. He is our IISc president as well as the coordinator of this event. With this, I conclude my talk and over to Karthikeyan.
Thank you, sir. Now, it's a time to invite Professor Bikash Modi, sir. Before going for that, I would like to invite Mrs. Anju to Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacology, to introduction of the speaker today. Anju, please.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Bikash Modi is professor and ex-additional medical superintendent in PGMA, Department of Pharmacology. His area of interest expertise is experimental pharmacology, clinical research, regulatory pharmacology, development, nanoformulation, pharmacogenetics, pharmacogenomics, and stem cells, etc. He has more than 25 years of teaching and research experience and won more than 65 prestigious national and international awards, namely Dr. D.N. Prasad Memorial Award with the Golden Medal 2009 from Indian Council of Medical Research and V.K. Bhargava Award with the Golden Medal from National Academy of Medical Science in 2013, and then R.N. Chopra Oration 2014 by Indian Pharmacology Society and N.N. Dutta Award in 2016 by Indian Pharmacology Society and D.N. B.N. Ghosh, oration at 43rd Annual Conference of IPS, an international conference on pharmacology and translational research. He is in core panel of experts for Task Force in INT Application and Regulatory Affairs, lead GLP inspector, lead GCP inspector, principal assessor for NABH. He is in several capacities in the CGI office, ICMR, DBT, CSIR, MPE, MGI, etc. He has authored 5 books and 150 chapters and published more than 400 articles in national and international journals. Further, he was selected as a member of various central government committees and central government funding agencies in the IND Committee, FDC Committee, Compensation Committee, and subcommittees of Drug Regulation Amendment Committee and several other committees. Presently, he is a chief editor in Indian Journal of Pharmacology and coordinator of PGMS Pharmacovigilance Center and Material Vigilance Center and coordinator of Regional Resource and Training Technical Support Center for North India. And he is the founder of Experimental Pharmacology Laboratory and Neurobehavioral Laboratory. Now I call upon Dr. Bikash Negi for handling this. Thank you.
And the dignity. Good point.
Voice break.
Hello, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Hear me?
You can proceed. You can proceed.
Just
Yeah.
okay, thank you. So is this movie? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Movie?
you're able. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, as you highlighted that this is very important topic, and most of the people who work for a years to get a decade, and whenever they make an application, then on thing is you have it is successful. So, how to make an application to the funding agency in national or international level, also whether it is a government funding agency or a private funding agency, how critically we look at whenever we analyze any of the project or review the project that we're going to discuss. Now, what I put it is how to convert the research question into research project proposal, and how you do it. That's what we're going to do. So, what will be that after writing the research proposal and also the research proposal, how it is going to have an overview and how to plan research project, well structured, what for need as a need of the funding agency, and how to develop an articulate highlight that how you're going to have a translational approach and component of research proposal, and also that what the scientific investigation going to do. And I'm also going to put it that how critically or the critical thinking of your research approach you're going to put it, so that in order to help the community or maybe some changes in guidelines in the research or and how you can select funding agency and you are successful and the opportunity. Now that academic, whether in a pharmacy college or a medical college or a university, so basically you have a barometer. So I might go all because I'm involved in several projects, and this is what that in terms of application, in terms of how many projects and how many projects we put it in the translational phase. So that is important for academician. Some people, they work for 30 years, 40 years. Then if somebody asks that what contribution to you as a scientific community, so that need to be looked at. That is why we actually plan for a lot of product development process, because many times we work in a very, very small areas and we have a gap of a core scientist with a clinician. What is it they require in a clinics today that need to be translated to the core scientist? Then only they can that this is what need of the today of society. Now you could see that many times we choose like research question maybe for a cup of coffee, and when we enter the journal club, as you can say that students are present in the journal club. Basically, you wanted to see that what are the lacking point. Many times you say that we take big journal, then basically we need to discuss that you can do it here also. What are the infrastructure is lacking, or can you collaborate with anybody? So that is what we have to see that actually that you have lab or the evidence with both service. Now, as I say that there is a barometer or for academics, that is in order to say that you have a lot of novel hypotheses, but it's very dynamic process. Today you think something else is done. Many times people since I look after a couple of journals, so they say that very good idea. And you need to publish it. But I just call them, okay, you come, I'll just open up the PubMed and I'll put it in keyword. You can see that hundreds of articles of similar already in the PubMed. So that's what that hypothesis, the novel hypothesis, you need to do it immediately, because at the time you like a student is going to take years, and that is what. Coming to methodology, I have to attend that is American Society for Experimental Pharmacology, aspect. So pre-aspect meeting, there's a pre-conference. I remember that in the pre-conference, it was discussed that, not enough grant is one of the very reputed journals, they have published that whatever the product has been evaluated in or in other phase of trial, that cannot be reiterated. So that put a question mark. Earlier all the grant has been given by NIH. That methodology is not. Like if you get a grant for experimental study, if you not keep a control group and control item, so definitely that data cannot be accepted. And that is why it was decided to back and grant reduced to these people, and it will divert for how to educate how to study this. That is what is important, and also it is important to have that how to interpret result. Also in the short also. Important point is anything like to say somebody done something not get, because there are a lot of already nobody is very well how good idea is not, and we have is definitely translating. That is important for writing the project. Need to be important that you can know that is to do. Just a minute. Hello. You're not here. Just wait. I'll just connect. Okay. Is it okay now?
Sir, actually, your voice is breaking.
Becky. Okay.
Voice is breaking, sir.
I have connected to the internet. I'll connect with another device. Let's see. change the data card. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just upload the
The slides
slide.
is not visible, sir. No.
Yeah, I'll just
Okay,
upload
sir.
the slide. Yeah. Yeah, is it okay now? Audio is okay? Can you hear
Okay,
me
sir.
properly?
Yes, 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 yes.
So what I was actually highlighting is that, when you write a protocol, it is important to have the novelty. And that is what the critical point, that if your project is novel, like I'll discuss about how you score the project, like out of 10, if you get a, 6, at least you might get, funding if the money is available. But if you get an 8 and 9, definitely it is a very novel project. Novelty is there. If you are going to get definitely the funding agency. So that is why initially when you write a project, you need to work on, the research question. The research question is that project answer is that you wanted to do some investigation, you want to collect the data, analysis, your methodology is proper, and you have also an experience of doing this, you're working on a similar project. That is what we always advise, that when you submit a project, please be sure that when there always need to be look at the biodata, and this biodata is supporting the document that you are working and you have an experience in that particular field. So purpose is that you wanted to discover the answer and question and application of scientific procedure. That means you have an infrastructure, or you might ask for some more infrastructure in terms of instrument and other facilities. So that is what that if you have a novel research question and your project is novelty is there, definitely you'll get the funding. Now, how the student should develop a research question, like even an early phase of the faculty member also, that you narrow down the topic, like use of references sources for portion of the book. Like many times we discuss in the journal club, and you find that this is what it is leading to one of the hypotheses, and this is a controversial one. You have a conclusive, investigation, or you wanted to do a studies, or to develop a few feasible research questions based on what funding reference sources. Or this should be also done in terms of questions that are simple and clear, and that's how you need to develop it. So this is that till today, what information is available. That is what, that when you write a protocol or any project, that you know that how you define the disease, what is the impact of the disease, okay, what is the pathophysiology, what is the new findings for last 2 years and 3 years, is there any treatment available for, or any, like in case of a diagnostic one. So ultimately you see that what novelty or what new thing you are going to do, it overcome that early limitation that it is going to implement it practically. Now, when you write a research question, that that some of the important point you have to look at, the focus on single problem and issue, because sometimes you have it in a big hypothesis that you cannot be fulfilled. So is it practically feasible? Like you keep a primary objective and secondary objective. So feasibility is very important in terms of answering the time frame or practical constant. So then you have to see that, is it a specific one? Specific means answer thoroughly, or if it is a complex that enough to develop an answer to space the proper thesis, then what is relevant to the current problem or relevant to the society? So you need to work on that. Is it focused? Is it feasible or reachable, or is it a specific one? It should not be broad. Okay, so you do not have a focused one that what you wanted to do it, and it should be relevant to the society. Or as I said earlier, that now question here while doing this, can it be translated to the clinical practice? So that is what the research question, you look at the selective what you wanted to do. Like we always look at the PICO, that you look at the patient problem and population, what intervention you are going to do it, is it appropriate or comparison, what outcome it is going to take it. So you can take an example of like patient with stage urinary continence, comparison between one of the transcubitor or the therapeutic any of the medical devices, and how it is successful. That way you can put it like that. So when you write research proposal, like for a medical research, or you wanted to do epidemiological studies for proper proposal, like in COVID era, we have done a lot of cases of repurpose. That you have an existing molecule, or there is a already scientific data is there that could be effective in SARS, MARS, or Ebola, or it has an immunomodulatory property, or it can say that it has more penetration tissue. So you select it for a repurpose. Second thing is that epidemiological study. We have done several epidemiological studies during the corona period. So one thing, blueprint is building the plan for construction will start, that how you have a specific format for applying for a research proposal. So one thing is there, that good research proposal based on scientific fact. So anything you give, that you have a hypothesis, why you develop this hypothesis, that you have a concrete evidence that till today. That is why research, evidence is still today what is available. So you check all the database. Like normally we go for a PubMed or a PubChem, so new chemical entity, or a ToxNet for toxicity studies. Everything till today is what is available. Then only you write that these are the limitations is there. These are the gray areas there that you need to develop for this. So fitting together, if you see that you have to organize that how you are going to review the data, put a basic concentration of subject point or a group of research into the concentration a bit, that you methodically, like you write an introduction is also you write that you define the disease, what is the impact, or impact in terms of the global phenomena, impact in the national phenomena in the Indian context. Then you write a pathophysiology, what are the changes. So like that you will see that, then you write a hypothesis. So whatever your own thought and analysis expanding for research say, then you have to put it like that. So you make a statement that based on that you develop a hypothesis, and based on this hypothesis you wanted to do that studies, and that's how you have to put it. So considering the illustration, that as I say that your topic should be narrow, or it should be in depth should be there, and it should be, if the topic is broad, then it is difficult to do. That is why that feasibility, that if you write a project for 3 years, is it practically feasible to include that kind of sample size? Okay, so that you have to see that. Then you have to look at an infrastructure. Suppose you do a clinical study, how many patients in that particular disease you are getting it, so that you have to see, based on that only you are going. Now looking at a structure, how do you make it the standard procedure we have, you write an objective. So objective, like you have a hypothesis, so you keep an aim, and how you're going to achieve the aim by doing the following objective. So every objective, that it is going to justify that what aim you have. Then you have a justification, then you write the introduction part, then you write a background and review literature. As I said, that when you write review literature, it is you need to incorporate each and every point that till today what is been available. Then, as I elaborated, looking at that NIH example of methodology, this is very important, that whether it is an experimental study, whether it is a clinical protocol, you need to write a sound methodology where design is adequate, you have an adequate sample size of this, particular in a clinical studies. Then you have a time frame, that how long you are going to take it. Is it 3 years, 5 years, or more than that? If you are asking for a center where you wanted to have a center of excellence for particular, so that different grants are there, will discuss about. Then, and what are the personnel is required, that whether how we are going to train them, what are the existing facilities is available, what additional facilities are required. Many of the time that institute like PJ, All India Institute, if we ask for a small instrument, then the funding agency will not be happy, because that many of the bigger institutes, they have already infrastructure. So you need to look at that. If you want to go for a genomic approach, like I asked for a microarray, so that is justified, that I wanted to work on celiac, or I want to work on particular disease which is other person, like only North India it is prevalent. So any budget you put, budget is for contingency, consumable, or for recurrent and non-recurring budget. I'll discuss in detail. So that need to be justified while writing the protocol. So you start with title. As you can say that while writing the protocol or proposal, the title itself will tell you that what you are going to do it. So when is it an advertisement for proposal that you make an application? Because many times, like COVID, you might have seen that several advertisements from the DST and DBT, or also in ICMR.
So in that that there is an impact of the disease, you need to work on particular area, therapeutic area. You need to work on repurpose of the drug. So there are a lot of advertisement. There are a lot of epidemiological study because you need to generate the data so that task force can make a recommendation based on this data. So that is why you have a search engine or indexing database, because if you look at during that pandemic time, you could get that every day there are 800 articles supported, 800 to 900 articles. So that is why that when you write a proposal, till today, what information is available, and that's how you have to go. So when you write an objective, this is very important to highlight the pivotal section of elsewhere that study concern about it, that how you're going to achieve this objective by starting very clearly. And you have already done preliminary studies. Many times you wanted to do a study, you can say that these methods are already validated. So it will be easier to do it. So it should be, objective should be specific, achievable, and it should measure it. So that is why you can clearly say that what is the relevant of objective to the study. So as I said that you have an aim, how you're going to fulfill the aim by doing this objective. Okay, so that's how you have to write the objective. Now, while writing this proposal, that you need to formulate some of the key messages. The key message is that why do you wanted to convert, do the study, because you wanted to address some of the gray area. So it should be written single sentences, how you're going to achieve it. And you should also carry the message for new or useful. And as I say, that it should be translated to the clinical practice, or you can say that by doing these studies, you are going to change some guideline if you are doing a clinical study. Or by doing these studies, experimental study, you can generate some data which will be useful to develop a clinical protocol. So while introduction, as I say, that simple one, you write that define the disease, what is the impact of the disease, considering the global level or Indian level, or is there any data has been generated, and ultimately you write a pathophysiology, and what is the new insight of pathophysiology. Maybe you can check the literature of last 2-3 years, and that's how you develop a hypothesis and how you want to verify this hypothesis, and that's how you keep the ANN objective. So in a background, when you write a review of literature, that you write detail, like whatever it is written in the introduction, the different headings, you are going to write in detail, so that till today, what information is available, check the database of PubMed. As I say that if I wanted to work on a new chemical entity, which will be useful for any disease, I'll check the PubMed, or I'll look for a toxicity study. Till today, what is available, I'll look at the toxin. So there are different databases. Of course, we are familiar with, PubMed, we check it. Now, question of methodology is way of systematically how you are going to address the research problem. So you do the research that, that the research, the method, is there a method? Many times you adopt the older method, which is not acceptable by a regulatory authority, not acceptable by a scientific community. So you have to check that what technique you have used, how sensitive it is. So is it acceptable by scientific committee and regulator? So that you need to adopt in a methodology. So ultimately, main part when you write methodology, that it should be sound study design. Like suppose we do a lot of clinical studies, and if you do an open trial, so you study data is biased. You might get a 80% of efficacy. But moment you keep a control group, like for example a psychiatric trial, your efficacy come down to 40. So that is why design is very important. In experimental study, like if you plan for a new chemical entity, so you include a control group, you include a vehicle control group. Basically, you wanted to see that where the drug is dissolved, what is a solvent, so what is a vehicle. So you have to keep a vehicle control group. If you do a surgery, then you have to have some operative group. Or that is why, because basically when you generate the data, you have to tell that is it because of this drug, or is it because of this particular vehicle. So that you need to establish. So that is why you have to do all these studies. Just a minute, I'll just connect to the battery is going low. And it is important to have a sample size. Now, how do you say sample size? Many times, just electrical connection.
So it's going on. Yeah. Yeah. Just give me one PowerPoint. Yeah.
Oh, PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Oh God.
I can
अरे रुको, मैं इधर मेरे extension cord है. इधर बहुत दूर है ना, technical extension.
Yeah,
You from
उसमें-
here.
उसमें
नहीं,
लगा।
वो मेरा computer है, तो वैसे problem है. हाँ. So this is working. You go to sit here. You will sit here. You go here.
Okay.
You don't need to view. And how much time you take?
That's 20.
That's 20. Meeting चल रहा है.
Maybe.
Meeting भी करते रहो, खाना भी खाओ.
So, sorry for interruption. So, what I was trying to tell you that if the design is not adequate, I have given an example of clinical study, or I have given the experimental study. Many times we use the, experimental study. I have given the example of NIH also, that you do not have a vehicle control group. We do not have a positive and negative control group. So this is very important to calculate the sample size in a clinical study as well as experimental. So experimental study, what you have to adopt that whatever regulatory approval is there, like suppose for preclinical, you need to have minimum 5 animals. So that's how. Now, whatever instrumentation is there, so that need to be that whether it is calibrated or you have an instrument ID, SOPs, logbook, everything. And as I said, that whatever procedure you are going to adopt, that it need to be looked at that is this procedure is you have a scientific validity is there or not, or any scientific community they accept and regulatory approval. So ultimately you are going to describe the procedure, the proposal in detail, and that need to be supported with the recent references. So that you have to do, and ultimately you are going to put a statistical case. So basically when you look at a statistical case, many times you do clinical studies, and when you make an ultimate conclusion, you say that larger studies should be done. So that need to be, so you have to keep an adequate statistical test, like you said, what is the power of the study you are going to plan, how many samples are required. So within that short period of time, is it enough that 3 years or 4 years, whatever you plan is, so you have to see the practical situation, then only write in a protocol. So time frame is very important, that how you're going to achieve, like first year, that how you're going to do it, what are the infrastructure you have, second year, what you are going to do it, if you plan for, 3 years period of time. So all the facilities, existing facilities, what has been available and equipment, so you have to say, and what are the new instrument is required, that you have to do it. So ultimately, if you see the budget, as I say, recurring and non-recurring budget, so you can say that you need a staff, you need money for travel, you need to, buy for a purchase of equipment or any printing, consulting size. So everything need to be justified. Then you put the references. So it is according to the funding agency that whether references in a Vancouver style or Howard style. So you have to put it according to that. Now, as I say that when you write the protocol, it is important that how critically you can have a critical thinking. So you can say that many times, you wanted to do, so basically you wanted to see that, so what is the next you are going to do it. So all the essential critical thinking is required, that you have a knowledge, you have a moral imagination, you have a motivation, you have a, you have a very strong team that and a skilled team who can do that study within a short period of time and whatever stipulated time you have given. So that is what the formulating research question, and ultimately you doing it practically or reporting the finding of the study to the regulatory authority or in a form of publication, that need to be looked at. So here, very important that in case of a clinical study, you look at the participant safety, and also you have to have a data integrity, so you follow the good clinical practice for that. But other co-factors like, that for experimental study, you wanted to do it, that you need to get an ethics committee, Institute Animal Ethics Committee permission. If it is an harmful taste item you are doing, that it should be IBC clearance. If you wanted to collaborate something, that you have to get a collaboration committee permission. So in case of international study also, like HMAC permission, Health Ministry Screening Committee permission. Similarly, all these rule responsibility is applicable, like for a sponsor, CROs, ethics committee, everything you have to get it clear in case of a clinical studies. So developing research question in terms of a broad area, as I say, you need to focus on a narrow therapeutic area, so that you can say that you have a specific aim, and you need to look at the literature till today what has been available, and during the studies also, if new information comes, you need to identify that. So that is what you need to see, that can, for example, if I give you the example, can a scalp cooling device all the chemotherapy, like you know that whenever chemotherapy started, there is a hair loss. So like that you can have it. So how you're going to do it, perform by design, observation, experimental study, or open label study, or you have a placebo or active control study. You wanted to establish the superiority or inferiority, non-inferiority. So like that you have to plan it. Accordingly, you have to do that. So you set an inclusion and exclusion criteria, and ultimately you wanted to see that whether this treatment is efficacious, how safe it is, and at the same time, if there's a chronic situation, so whether it have affecting the quality of life or not, so that all you go for. So devising the risk management plan that you need to while doing that, you need to identify risk identification, risk assessment, or minimization, or risk communication that need to be doing. So then in a clinical study, it is also ideal to have how you prepare the informed consent. Normally when you prepare the informed consent, you look at that 8 essential element and 4 additional element, so that there is no problem. Then in clinical study, another issue is compensation also, that you also look at that how you are going to compensate. You have to ask for a funding agency about the compensation if it is related, or if it is not related, you are not going to give a compensation. And all the GCP principle you have to follow it while doing the clinical studies, and how you are going to interpret the data. As you can say that you start with a concept statement, and you have a statistical method to do it, and how you are going to interpret that. Ultimately, you are going to report the study data to the regulatory authority that you have to. So that is what the critical thinking and foundation of science is very, very important while coming to the national and international funding agency. I can say that people do not know that what are the opportunity is there. For example, what are the funding agency in India, or for example, what are the international funding agency. And I'll also talk about tips for successful, funding agency application, how you become a successful. Now, when you say funding agency, you apply for a research grant. That is an ad hoc process. Maybe you apply for 3 years time or 5 years time to apply for a centers. Many times we have a fellowship, or you apply for different meetings, symposium and CME, and travel grant, maybe national or international, mostly international. So when you look at a funding agency, you have a ICMR, a Department of Science and Technology. They have a DBT and DST. Then you have a CSR. Then technical, for engineering, AICT is there. Then for university, you have a university grant is there. They have a major grant and they have a minor grant. So these are the funding agencies apply. So what I request to you that all the funding agency, they have a website, and whenever there is a advertisement for ad hoc process in a project, they advertise, like you can see that ICMR website, and see that how many trust area is there. Like they have a grant scheme for student fellowship, or there is a postdoctoral grant, there is a talent research grant. Then for MD, MS, DM thesis also they have a grant. So accordingly, you can make an application and you become a successful. Now, what I said is ICMR grant, we have a short-term student fellowship that is only for MBBS student. They have a ad hoc research grant 3 years, 5 years, or they have a center for application also. So they have a junior fellowship, and all these are financial grant can be, and there are different task force, like for non-communicable disease, they give up to 5 crore rupees. So that's how you get. So you can make an application for ICMR grant also, for international also. Like what I said, for faculty member, you can make an application that you can go abroad for 3 years to 5 years. So if you have a collaborative. So when you say that DHR, Department of Health Research, they have a grant. So when you make an application, you know that making an application, they'll critically analyze by learning this technique, can you come back to India and implement in India? And that's how we can do it. Now, second thing is, when you look at this grant, like if I put it that how many grant is sanctioned by DBT, or doing the operational research, or epidemiological studies, or in clinical studies, you can see now, the money has been put it into the different grant. Now here if you see that a lot of university, they get a grant, or medical college, we have 600 plus medical college, then thousands of pharmacy colleges there. Then how many research institute they get a grant. So these are the expenditure by different funding agency, ICMR, DBT, DST, and you can see that how many are taken. So if you take an example of Chandigarh. Chandigarh is a very small place where we have a PGI or Punjab University or NIPER Mohali. So if you look at the grant, we are about to receive a, compared to any of the state, we receive a huge grant from all the funding agency in India as well as from abroad. So that's how that it is important to look at a different website that Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology for product development, ICMR also initiate the product development course, or you can say the BIREC also initiate the course. So these are some of these focus area they usually highlighted. So international funding agency, you can say that we can apply for a collaborative work like Indo-Russian or Indo-US, Indo-UK or Sweden, that it is advertised. So accordingly, you can have a joint workshop, you can ask for a fellowship, we can have an exchange program, or you can establish a joint center of excellence also. So that is basically they wanted to make it that scientist to scientist contact, or they can say that call for proposal for particular focus area. Like recently we have applied to the Russian counterpart autism, like for Japan. So in every focus area, they can say that, or okay, this area, if you have an expertise, you make an application, or you can develop a bilateral workshop so that you can say that how you can project in future what you are going to do it. So that's how the point to be considered, that when you make an application, that if a reviewer in an expert group, it is very important to that look at the relevance to India or priorities. Is there any expertise or foreign collaborator? So you have an expertise, why do you want to collaborate with a foreign collaborator? So that you need to look at that they have a new methodology, you get to know that, new methodology or some new technique, so that can be implemented in India. So that is why that your institutional infrastructure, can you create a new infrastructure over a period of time, and can you learn some of the skill of technical soundness, and you need to justify. So these are the points that are very issue, but you need to address that, as I say, that we need to get an HMSC clearance, like Health Ministry Screening Committee, if you exchange a biological sample regarding the patent IPR issue and other budget, you need to justify that. So as I said, that international funding agency, we have a lot of collaborative work from DST, DBT, ICMR, INSA. We have an international division is there. WHO give a lot of fine. That a lot of NIH trial, we are doing it especially in South. Then we have a collaboration with France and other countries. So these are some of these international collaborators who see that from the funding agency. Almost all the countries, you can say we have a collaboration. But you know that in order to establish for India, maybe you can go for an ICH country like US or European Union, or you can say that Australia and New Zealand, or that is what you have to do it. So other international collaboration like Asian countries, Indonesian is there. Then you have a UNESCO, UNEDW. There are a lot of some, even the private organization like MARC and like, Wellcome Trust. So these are, so you just go through International Health Division, where it is given a specific one, like you can say that collaboration with German, collaboration with ICMR with other countries. So then they ask for a letter of intent, and accordingly you can make an application. You have to identify 2-3 persons into the collaborative countries, so there you can make an application. Now coming here is some of the people, they become successful, some did not get the grant, and sometimes you feel frustrated that why I did not get the grant for the last couple of years. So as I said that initially, that novelty is very, very important. So if your research carried a significant research question, if your hypothesis is novel, a design is adequate, you have a feasibility, you have an expertise, and that is why that moment you apply for any funding, you generate initially preliminary studies, that you can say that I have done the preliminary studies, now I need a funding because I want to expand the work. So if I give an example of some of the example, like we work on task force of tuberculosis, as you can say that tuberculosis, especially resistant, we do not have a medicine. Recently, we have introduced a bedaquiline. But if you see that if you work in that area, how it is useful. Now, when you make an application or in terms of proposal, you can say that what are the gap area of tuberculosis? As I say that our major problem is in terms of how you are going to manage a refractory or resistant tuberculosis, like MDR or XDR. So here, if you see the mechanism of idea generation of tuberculosis research, you identify new priority of the areas, or what are the new mechanism, you develop a new medicine, how they are going to combat with conventional treatment. Okay, then do you have a capacity, and where you are going to start? Do you have you done any preliminary studies? Then do you have a capacity for research mobilization? So this is what you have to go for. Framework for planned research TB ticket, or new method for TB prevention and diagnosis treatment, design network or team-oriented research, addressing the regulatory issue, because many times you work on that idea, but you do not know how to approach the regulatory. As I say that you work in a lab, how to go to clinics, that need to be collaborated. Then you look at that national and international advocacy for TB research. So if you look at that, you make an application that how you're going to address it. So we suppose I'm a reviewer and I wanted to evaluate the principal investigator. We look at the title of the studies. So basically I'm going to ask the following question. Is this project is scientifically or academically significant for the society or for the particular patient population? Can this project generate a new knowledge or new method or new technology, maybe in a diagnostic area, maybe in a therapeutic area? Is the clear hypothesis is there? Whatever research plan is a sound methodology is adequate or not? So you apply for 5 years grant or 3 years grant. Accordingly, you have to have a justification. But the research have necessarily expertise in that area, so that you can say that you have been working in that area. You have already spent 1 decade of time. So definitely you have an expertise. You are a master of that particular field. So that is what that all the institute, like whether you have a space or you're a co-investigator, they have an expertise or not, how you are going to do it, significant about doctoral, if somebody is doing a PhD or you wanted to, by doing this thesis, some 2-3 PhD will be generated. Then can you generate, in a particular forum in India, consortium? So that also need to be looked at. Is a proposed budget is, justified? What you're going to do? You want an instrument? How much money is there? Is it justified? Or is the equipment are already been, justified that you wanted to go for a new methodology? And whatever manpower you are giving, it is justified. So ultimately, all you look at that, you wanted to work on tuberculosis, you want to work on COVID, is it you have a biosafety level 3 and 4? So this need to be do that, you have to get a clearance from all this regulatory authority. So overall, you make an evaluation of the strength of the project and what are the weaknesses there. As I said that we give the score ultimately out of 10. So if you get the score of more than 6, so definitely it is justified that you might get a funding if the funding agency has a money. So if you get 10 out of 10 or maybe 9, so definitely you are going to make it, get the funding. So that's how that I am a reviewer for other science and technology like France, UK, and US also. So the similar process is applied. So that you have to see that how you're going to score is more than 6, and that is important. So I think there are a lot of work area you need to look at, but I request all of you to work on a specific area so that you can generate and the technology or any of this, input, how it is going to affect, change the society or new treatment guideline or the therapeutic area that need to. So the gap area when you work in a lab or the clinics, what is needed in a clinics that need to be known. So with this, I thank you very much. So as I can say that there is no way to get an experience except through the experience. So that you need to believe on it. Thank you very much. This is my lab. We do a lot of, CME program and the training program. So you can just check the website of EPL, Experimental Pharmacology Lab. You can join it. Thank you very much. Any other questions? I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for describing, even though you started with small interruption, and given briefly all the anatomy of how to write and what are the structures of the proposals, and in detailed manner with a very short period of time. And you have elaborately described about various funding agencies, national and international, and what is the way that is reviewers going to evaluate and what way they are going to evaluate. Very briefly and elaborately, you have just described all these things. Thank you so much. Now, I think this session is, Q&A session is open. Those who have any queries, you can ask. Those who have any questions, now the session is open for questions. Sir, from my part, I would like to ask some questions, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, sir, I also, as you told that, I also write more than 8 to 10 proposals in my last 5 to 6 years of time. But none of the proposal has been accepted due to some, what is the criteria, sir? Actually, I want to ask you, sir, so what is actually, if you want to have some basic papers in our hand, or you should have some experience in our hand, and what phases they are looking over there?
Basically, I told you that whenever you make an application in a particular area, so they also wanted to see, suppose I apply for a stroke, experimental model of stroke. So they'll get to know that have you validated any model? So do you have any supporting experience in terms of publication? how you are going to make it a translation. Do you have a collaborative with a clinician? Suppose you have to go in a product development mode. So you work on a new chemical entity, can you go to product development mode? Like if it is successful, can you go for a clinical study? So I request that you should generate a data. If it's, for example, stroke, so you have a paper on validation of model like ischemia model. So you have a paper. You had earlier work. So then it will be easy. So if you do not have a paper, you can have a collaborator who has an experience. So that becomes easier for funding agency to give a funding. Yeah.
So one more thing, it is necessary. Can we have a collaboration with any of the national institute to get a collaborative work? It is possible to have a collaborator or the co-investigator in some other national institute?
Yes, you can have collaborator, but you have to justify that why you are collaborating. You can say that some of the parameter is not able to do it. So in that institute, they have an expert, they'll do the particular parameters. So like that, you can have within other department, you have a collaboration, inter-institutional collaboration. So there are a couple of grantees from the DBT also that when you collaborate, they encourage to go for a collaboration. If somebody, the editor-in-chief from the nation had come, then somebody had asked the question that why from India it is very less paper published in very big journal. It is because that we do not have a habit of collaboration. That need to be developed.
So as you know, sir, actually in the pharmacy colleges, most of them, they may not have that much of facility. So that only I'm asking, sir, it is possible to have a collaboration with national institutes to
Yes,
have
we can have it. That most of the institute, like in Chandigarh, we have a member of understanding of all CRIC. Like CRIC means the PGI, Punjab University, Mohali, there are 7 institutes. Then we have a member of understanding that for collaboration, I need not have to go to ask for any permission. So it is already understood. If I have to apply, for another institute, foreign institute, I have to apply for a collaboration committee or HMSC clearance. So these provisions are already there.
Okay, sir. So one more thing, sir. Actually, if you go for in case of ICMR, what kind of proposal they are accepting? That is a clinical related or the preclinical related studies they are?
See, ICMR has different division. Like one is BMS division, basic medical science. So they go for a core pharmacology. Okay, like you have a non-communicable disease. Okay, so they go for like all the non-communicable diseases like diabetic mellitus. So there are different divisions. Like there is a herbal division is there. So you can apply in different division. So then only thing is that you look at an advertisement that they advertise for a core trust area. So that's how you do it.
Okay, sir. So in the concept proposal, sir, in case of ICMR, if you see that within the 5 pages shortly, we have to describe all the aspects of that. Actually.
Yeah.
That's what we have to concentrate, focus more on that actually, if you're writing on that.
A concept proposal, you need to highlight that your hypothesis should be written very clearly, and also the preliminary studies, what have been done, and what you want to do extend with the studies. So that is why because many times you get a huge number of projects, because we have many medical colleges, many research institute, pharmacy college, so the huge number of applications. So that is why the initial screening only they do it with a concept proposal.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Any others, please, you can have.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So my question is that many of the funding agencies, they allocate more fund on non-recurring side rather than in recurring side rather than the non-recurring side. So especially they are giving the fund for consumables as the solvents and reagents, chemicals, what we use for the experimental projects proposal. And many of the funding agencies considering a 15 to 20% is a maximum for the non-recurring area. So the institutions like self-financing institution may not have such a sophisticated equipment. So in that line, may I know from you which are the funding agencies allocate more of non-recurring amount?
No, basically that by doing this project, you want to create an infrastructure. Okay. So that funding agency mostly give the grant is DBT, Department of Biotechnology, or Department of Science and Technology, SCR. So ICMR give a grant, but that is dependent on what trust area you are working. Like suppose you ask for 50 lakhs rupees or 60 lakhs rupees. You ask for a crores of rupees, maybe center of excellence you want to create. So then definitely they are going to give the infrastructure. Then there is a program called FEAST program. The FEAST program, like 2T department, you can ask for that you can create a new department. So that way they'll give a grant for another 5 years. So accordingly, you have to project that this is a new area you need to develop. Like we have been working in autism. So we got a couple of grants because there is no medicine is available. There is no validated model. We have created 2T validated model where we wanted to go for a drug development. So there also we got software. Earlier it was not, there is no provision for giving a software. We asked for a software, that also we got it. We got an infrastructure, that way you have to say that. What trust area, what need of this India or for Indian population and society, that you have to highlight it. But definitely bigger grant, you have to go for a DBT, you have to go for a DST, or you have to go for a BIRED. Or you can have one of the company also. That if you want to, in a later stage of the drug development, you can collaborate with the company also.
And moreover, sir, the pharmacy institutions comes under AICTE and the Pharmacy Council of India. We don't have any kind of affiliations or recognition from UGC. Our institutions who are not come under UGC, are we eligible to apply for the funding from the UGC side? There are some funding. Yeah.
I think UGC has a major grant and minor grant, but money is less. But you have to have a collaborator from any of the university, or if pharmacy college is under the university, you can make an application, or you have to have a collaborator from the particular university. You can make an application.
Okay. So one more thing, if anyone wants to write up the proposal and want to submit, especially I'm talking about a junior level faculty, they might have a very less experience, and in that case, the concept of proof is very good, and they want to go ahead further. So he or she can take over the co-investigator from the institution who have the PhD qualification and who have raised the fund so in previous time frame. Will it be that candidate proposal will be accepted?
Yes, I think those who are a new faculty, there is also provision for early phase. They give the grant. At least for the DST, they give an early phase. New faculty, they give the grant. But better if you want to collaborate with a senior faculty who have an experience in that area, that become more easier.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, my question is, suppose if we submitted a proposal and if they rejected also, then is there any possibility to get the reviewer's comment?
Yeah, we can ask for that. Normally, when they communicate, they also communicate that what are the lacking point, why it was not been recommended, they highlighted in a communication letter, the rejection letter. So they have easily highlighted the points where the investigator can improve, in the next time when they make an application. It has been communicated. Okay. Now everything is online. You can check in online also.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any others, please? Any others? Any others? You have any questions or any clarification?
Sir, Karthikeyan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know from the speaker. Most of the institutions who are applying a grant and summarily it gets rejected due to many reasons. What we learned from you today, it's really a pinpoint. But the thing is that how much ethics they will implicate when after receiving the project, sir, because they will be sending to the many reviewers in order to scrutiny the proposed projects. So what kind of ethics are involved in the funding agencies? In case of government funding agencies, okay, they might have a driving force and they have the hierarchy, so they have the confidentiality. I'm talking about especially the non-government funding agencies sources. So what kind of ethics they maintain, whether it is channelized properly, whether the system they exist or not. So what is the suggestion this, sir?
See that government funding agency, there is also policy that, like earlier, DBT used to get 30% of the grant to the Northeast. So they wanted to encourage that all the institute from Northeast, they should work on a research area, focus on. So they identify the institute, and they also have that requested that you collaborated with rest of India. So we have a lot of collaborative grant. Now, another proposal is that many times people think that people from private institute and government institute, there is a difference. There is no difference. Like if somebody is making an application from a very peripheral college, they'll get more out of 10, maybe they'll get 8 marks. At least they have encouraged to apply. If I apply for PGI, maybe in that particular category, I might get 4 out of 10. Because we wanted the peripheral colleges to make an application that they should be engaged in the research area. Second thing is that whatever the experimental research, whatever the clinical research, you should have an infrastructure. That is why that head of the institute, they certify that you wanted to do experimental research. Do you have an animal ethics committee? Is it CPC, SCA, verified or approved, or whether you have an institute ethics committee? You wanted to work on some hazard chemicals, do you have an IBC committee? You wanted to work on stem cell, do you have a stem cell committee? Is it, approved by ICMR? So these are the infrastructure is always there. There is a policy that when grant come in a research institute, they take around 5% for the government research institute, or they take a private grant, maybe a clinical trial from the particular company, so they give it around 10% for administrative service. But all these are accountable because you have to submit the UC, utilization certificate. So that is why these are all money are accountable, how much money came, where it is been used. Even if you get an instrument, so it will come to the central store, then only it will come to the department. Once the project is over, then it goes to the institute. So this policy are already adopted. So ethically or administratively, or you look at the GFR, general financing rule, so it has been applied for all the projects.
So I just texted one more thing, sir. And most of the institutions working around the clock for getting the accreditation, like either NB accreditation or a NAC accreditation. And this both accreditation body emphasize so many aspects for the aspects, and we need to compliance with their requirement, and which includes the R&D setup and R&D activity, quality of publication, quality of research in the particular institution. In that standing, is there any special consideration from the funding agencies? Is there any clauses there? The institution who have this kind of accreditation will be a prior consideration. Is there any clause?
Yeah, like you say that you make an application, they'll ask for a DSR certificate. So those institutes have a DSR certificate, then only they are eligible for a grant. Otherwise, they will not give a grant. So these are the infrastructure, and the government funding agency, they ask for a document. So if your college is not DSR certificate, they are not going to give the grant.
Okay.
So this is required.
And the DSR certification for the funding agencies like ICMR, or it includes any funding agency?
Yeah. So before they release the grant, they'll look at that whether ethical clearance is there or not, whether experimental or clinical, whether your institute is DSR certified or not. Then only you are likely to get a receipt of the grant. Otherwise, they will.
Yeah, I understood. So my question is that whether the DSR approved certification is required for all the funding agencies, which include AICTE.
All the
Okay. Yes. But this been into the implementation for recent years, sir, because
No, it is from the earlier only. Now everything is easier because you check in online.
Okay.
So you check it online. Like suppose you make an application, you will also check it online that whether DSR certificate or not. So like that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, and this I would like to request you in the with the permission of the principal, and can you be a mentor for our department in future?
You can send me the request. I'll take an approval. There is no problem.
Okay, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I think if anybody have any queries, any questions, any clarifications required from any other staffs? If no, and we'll go to the Okay, thank you. Now, I would like to invite Mrs. Nancy Jose, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacology, to give vote of thanks. Madam, please.
Thank you, sir. It's good afternoon, one and all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver vote of thanks on this event. First and foremost, I would like to thank our eminent speaker, Dr. Bikash Mehdi, for making our session very meaningful and interesting. I would like to express our deep gratitude to our administrator, Reverend Father Dr. Dos Matai Nairadian, for his constant support and guidance. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our principal, Dr. Bitanavan R., for his inspiration and encouragement. My heartfelt thanks to R&D head, Dr. Srija G. Pillai, and ICT President, Dr. Karthikeyan M. for their constant effort for motivating the faculty. But last but not the least, I would like to express my sincere gratitude from bottom of heart to our delegates for their active participation and interaction. I hope all enriched today with today's session. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. With your permission of the principal, sir, and vice principal and coordinators, I think the session ends. Thank you all. We can leave the session. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.